saying 5 things to live the best life. It begins with accountability of the emotional regulation capacity for every person, but it isn't as straightforward as it may seem. And there's a bunch of people, hi Cindy, there's a bunch of people who don't take seriously understanding their embodied brain. And while it is definitely a trending topic, we don't care about trends when we care about our best interest for real. And what I mean by that is I care about what I do as a content creator, mentor, podcast host, but as a human being who does know what works. And as a marketer, I also do not enjoy when people want to treat consumers as if they are dumb. Which, though, by the way, I do find that a bunch of people do seem to not want to understand what the 0-8-year-old subconscious, hello, Carol. So your subconscious, you technically don't own it, but if you are self-aware, accountable, and regulating. So I was a kid when I decided to not be mean to other kids because I said, yes, Jesus, I promise to forgive my brothers and sisters. Yes, God, I promise not to judge them and cast a stone. I found out I was casting a stone when I was about like 16-ish. I was like, you're bad, you do cocaine. You're bad, you do drugs. You're bad, you break the law. You're bad, you're bad. Oh, I'm so sorry, God. I didn't mean to play you. And so as a mystic, once I got opened up to clairs, that's because of lovely twin flame 1. Then I got twin flame 2, 3. Oh, attachment, trauma educated. Yes, so let me tell you, there's no saga with twin flames. But that's only if you're an empowered feminine. Empowered feminine means you have a body that's in connection. And this is very important. Okay, so let me get back to Bezel. The 5 things to do to live a good life. Number 1, accountability of your emotional regulation skills, which involves your embodied brain. And if there's one thing you can do is honor yourself by allowing yourself to really understand that your 0-8-year-old is yours. I own mine, and she's all here, and she didn't do anything wrong like nobody else does, except for the ones who want to believe in demons, Lucifers, and monsters that actually you find out live in the homes of those who don't go to tend to their inner child. It's very unfortunate business. So when I see marketers and all these trending topic people talk about how to create a following and then they want to market. So what was it? I have to integrate this because I was like, this is humorous to say the least. Let's see. 1, build your world. So yeah, they're like, make it like friends, which we all do. I'm building a community of inspiring human potential people, not by shits and giggles. No, by letting people know. Integrated brain. Awesome. So 5 things to live a good life. It's called emotional regulation skills. You get your body in connection. You get an integrated brain. Negative self-talk. It's bullshit for those who have self-empowerment, self-awareness, self-accountability, and then knowing, yeah, I'm human. I want to be loved by my crew, but sometimes that's not going to happen, right? So 3, you don't procrastinate getting self-empowered and integrated. You reparent your child. You become your inner adult. Makes you self-sovereign. Nobody's going to pull wool over anybody's eyes. And 4, you notice if you're an inconsistent human being, because inconsistency, well, that's the sign that you have no self-empowerment. And when I see people flipping a switch, let's see, identify your interests. Yeah, my interest is that you get to be yourself for real, not pretend. Performers are 0-8-year-olds on a wheelhouse, and they fall for this shit. So when I see people following trending topics, I'm like, okay, cool. They're just following the next Peter Pan and Lost Boys. Number 3, what was it? Show bar sets. What is, I can't even read my notes anymore. I don't know what I wrote. Anyways, I wrote something. Establish your community. Yes. Identify your, yes, this one was the one that caught me. Identify your enemies. I'm like, okay, I don't have any enemies. God doesn't have enemies. But what I do know, ignorance is key. So hi, John O. Bikun. Somehow, some people I get to say hello to, others no. Hi, Nanny, Granny. And Danielle, hi. So what I was trying to get to is the enemies. That was funny because enemies would be every single human being on the face of this planet, not the children. The children are still children, even though you'd hope that they would have securely attached, non-traumatized parents. So whenever I see people who are emotionally immature, those would all be my enemies. I think that's kind of cocky, don't you think? Think that I have no right to basically tell anybody what to do with their body, especially with their inner child, because not my body, not my life. So when I see people dishonoring themselves, it's not an enemy. It's basically what I met in college, what I met as a teenager. So I met people that didn't know how to do the 5 basic things to live their best life. Be accountable for their emotional regulation skills. But if you didn't learn how to regulate yourself because you didn't get that luck, I did. I'm a self-agent. So luckily for me, I know all about Maria, and I know all about where I come from. And so, yeah, I notice when I get dysregulated because my body is completely in my awareness. I have interoception. So when you have an integrated brain, you're self-aware, accountable, you regulate, okay? So you definitely take accountability for your emotional stuff. You don't get all pissy in your pants and project it and create enemies. You don't fall for bullshitters, because really when somebody is creating an enemy, oh, and then the thing of it works all the time. So teenagers, black and white thinkers, like to think that they know everything, and people who want to know everything and don't want to accept the reality, which is that we continue to learn many different ways, are the same individuals who are limited consciousness. So if you want to talk about the 5D collective, Rice consciousness, one is consciousness, and those mystics who like to talk about divinity and being divinity, and then they don't know how to actually consistently expand with their brain. Why? Because if your cherishable beliefs can't be falsifiable without you getting pissy in your pants, you don't know how to actually think. So definitely not engage in inconsistency with yourself, which is easy if you're self-agent and you're self-sovereign, and if you're smart enough to know that everybody has a way that works. But what is right is that any person who wants to own their life is by getting their body connected. And that's true because it's science that proves it. It's not a belief. But when people don't want to do it, as Bessel van der Kolk points out in this lovely interview, this is why he's right. So I don't have enemies. I have people who don't want to get their well-being on track. None of my business. God told me to mind my own business. I mind my own business. I just know none of them are demons, Lucifers, or monsters. They're all insecure, which is why then you have other human beings, marketers and whatnot, giving people a script to basically build what would be not anything that I would be proud of, because I want people to know that they can be their true self, not that they can be a copycat. So Peter Pan has lost boys. Peter Pan follows Wendy. This is why I use new stories for all of those who are emotionally immature, because they're 0-8-year-olds of themselves. And they're actually playing out their non-metabolized trauma stuff, which is actually dishonorable again, because you don't honor that 0-1-year-old that did everything it could. Your embodied brain protects you. Your embodied brain protects you. Your embodied brain protects you. In the first 3 years of the life of a person is implicit memory. And so that is very sad to a human being who knows what works, to hear a bunch of bullshitters talk about well-being and not even one of those notice that there's still a Cusco attitude. Cusco, you bullshitting Pacha some more? Pacha sees right through bullshit, because that's exactly what the difference is between mentally, emotionally, physically intelligent, mature people. So you avoid lack of accountability for your own emotional regulation skills, and you get it on point, and you figure it out. Why? Because scientists are out there explaining exactly how mental health works. And anyone who's denying it then doesn't want it. They don't have to want it, and that's okay. They're not going to live their best life. They might buffoon themselves like ostriches with head in the sand. That's good for them. We won't be around each other because they can't handle healthy self-worth. They don't like healthy boundaries.